Hi, and welcome to Astro Bites for Wednesday, July the 3rd, 2024. Today, the moon is still in Gemini, and that will keep us on this kind of treadmill of sometimes overthinking, wondering whether our intuitive thought is a pure intuitive thought, and then by the time we've overthought it, it ceases to be of any relevance at all. There is, however, a very important and potentially quite interesting transit today. Now, I've been talking about Mercury a bit the last few days. It's been taking sort of center stage. And Mercury, our planet of communication and thinking and thought, is in Leo. Now, Mercury rules Gemini, so it's an air planet. And Leo is a fire sign. So how does air and fire kind of get on? Because what it's making me think of is hot air balloons and, or being full of hot air. So there could be, what I'm thinking about is tomorrow, July the 4th, in the United Kingdom, everybody goes to the polls to vote in a new government. And for sure, I would be very surprised if there is not a change of leadership. So I think today we're going to see this last minute kind of rush for the bus, so to speak, where there's a lot of hot air and rhetoric coming out as these politicians try to kind of make their point and get their agendas across. Because Mercury, and I'm going to talk about how it's going to affect you on a personal level as well. Mercury in Leo is opposite Pluto, retrograde in Aquarius. So let's think about this. We've got Pluto, who is this major player at the moment. Pluto, our planet of transition, of transformation, of beginnings, of endings, but our kind of Lord of Hell. Pluto rules hell. Pluto is the god Hades. He has access to the underworld. So there is something very, Pluto has a dark shadow. So as much as Pluto can be hugely transformative, there is also, if we don't navigate Pluto's energy in a fully aware way, then it can trip us up and it will create a drama to push us towards the transformation that it feels that we need before we may feel we're ready. So Pluto, remember, is at the 0 degree of Aquarius, and it's not long till it will dip its toes back into Capricorn. It's got some heavy tidying up to do in the structured governmental sign of Capricorn. Interesting. Elections all this year. The UK, France, I think there's some other ones, and I think there's one in America. And that could be quite, it could bring up a lot of interesting discussion and maybe some hot air as well. But today, with Mercury opposite Pluto, on a personal level, just be careful what you say. The moon is in Gemini. This is about speaking before we think, because you may see where somebody needs to get hold of themselves and bring about some kind of personal change, but it's not your job. They have to work it out for themselves. Otherwise, they'll end up back where they were in the first place. I've always said to people in the past, when they've perhaps seen something about maybe something I'm doing in my own life, and they can see that I'm in error, or I could do it in a different way, or better, or get out of a bad situation. I've always said to these people that get terribly frustrated with me, I'll do it in my own time, in my own way. And that's because I haven't gone through the thought processes yet that will get me to the point where I can make the decision. So Mercury in Leo is saying, if you are the person observing someone who perhaps needs to change or end something or leave something or finish something, don't speak out of turn. Think before you speak. Maybe throw little pointers into the conversation, but somehow you have got to allow Pluto's energy to empower them to work it out for themselves. Likewise, if you're on the receiving end of this energy and somebody is saying it to you, say the same thing back. Hey, listen, I can see your point. Please, guys, let me get there in my own way, in my own time. You know, I have a plan. I know what I'm doing. So that's what I want to say for today. And I think it is quite important energy. And I've gone on again a bit longer than I intended to. But I think to get this point across about you cannot push someone to change. You know, if you go to a therapist, they may be sitting there for years seeing what you should be doing or how you could change. But they don't tell you. They can't tell you. Their job is to empower you to find out the answers for yourself. Otherwise, you will just keep going back and repeating the same mistakes. That's why I'm going on so long today, to get that point across, because the moon's in Gemini and it's making me chatty. On that note, thank you so much for joining me for another Astro Bite. I'll be back tomorrow with a general election in the UK special. Bye for now.